Hello and welcome everyone. So in the previous class we have discussed two numericals on the analysis of pre-stressed concrete based on a stress approach. So keeping the same approach, we are going to discuss three more numericals here, and today we are going to talk of an unsymmetrical I section. This is unsymmetrical I section, and as we have seen, in case of symmetrical section, ZT section modulus for topmost fiber was equal to ZB, and the reason being that because the Z is the section modulus is equal to I moment of inertia divided by Y, and Y is the distance of the fiber from the centroid. Okay, but in unsymmetrical section, ZT is not equal to ZV. Why? Because YT is not equal to YV. Alright. See, in the symmetrical section, it was very easy. We need not to consider the separate values of section modulus for the top fiber and the bottom fibers. So in the diagrams of stress diagrams at the end, you are seeing that magnitude of stresses at the top and the bottom in all the stress distribution is same, isn't it? The reason is that because ZT was equal to ZB. But what happens when they are not equal in case of unsymmetrical section? Then we have to make the addition of these stress in a tabular fashion. Okay, so let's do this. In example 4.3, it says an unsymmetrical I section beam is used to support an imposed load of 2 kilonewton per meter. So live load is given 2 kilonewton per meter over a span length of 8 meter. Okay, this is the length. The sectional details are top flange 300 mm wide and 60 mm thick, bottom flange 100 mm wide and 60 mm thick, thickness of the web is 180 mm, overall depth of the beam is 400 mm. So we have drawn the diagram of this I section with the help of given dimensions. Okay, so this is the diagram of an unsymmetrical I section. At the center of the span, the effective pre-stressing force of 100 kilonewton is located at what distance from the soffit? 50 mm. So this is my tendon location. Okay, and it is located at a distance of 50 mm from the soffit, means the bottommost fiber. Estimate the stresses at the center of a span section of the beam for the following load condition. Now in the first case we have to consider pre-stress and self-weight only, and in the third case we have to consider pre-stress plus self-weight plus live load, and live load magnitude is also given as 2 kilonewton per meter. Okay, so the question is not very difficult. We have done it. Only difference here is that for the value of ZT and ZB we have to calculate separately. So for calculating this value, first of all we have to calculate the value of moment of inertia I. After calculating moment of inertia I, only then we can calculate the value of YT and YB. Okay, how this YT and YB will be calculated? This will be calculated from the centroid of this unsymmetrical I section. So the centroid of this I section is not in the mid of this 400 mm depth. No, it will not be equal to 200 mm. It will be calculated by using the first moment of area method, like A1 x1 plus A2 x2 plus A3 x3 divided by A1 plus A2 plus A3. If you do this, you will come to the location of the centroid of this I section. Okay, so let us start. It is given that pre-stressing force is already given. Now in this case pre-stressing force is given, P's value is given 100 kilonewton. Earlier pre-stress was given, pre-stress. There is difference between pre-stress and pre-stressing force. Earlier when pre-stress was given, then we have to calculate the area of the bars also. So area of bars is not required in the in this problem, because we are directly given the pre-stressing force magnitude. It is equal to 100 kilonewton. Area of concrete, we can calculate the sum of all areas, A1 plus A2 plus A3, and this can be done simply by dividing this I section as 3 smaller section, A1, A2 will be this much section, and A3 will be this one. Okay, so like this we have done here. Let us clean this, and total area is calculated. Now distance of centroid from top. Now this is calculated how? This is, as I have said, we have to calculate the distance of centroid from top. How it is done? A1 y1 plus A2 y2 plus A3 y3 divided by A1 total area, A total. All right, and y1 y2 y3 are the distance of the centroid of A1 A2 A3 from the top. Okay, so this is very simple, and if you do this, we will calculate the distance of centroid from top. Y is equal to 156 millimeter. All right, now we have to calculate the eccentricity of the tendons from the centroid. So eccentricity of tendon will be calculated, and it will come out to be 194 mm. Okay, this is the eccentricity of bar, 194 mm. How it is calculated? Because we know this distance, the centroid distance from top bar is 156 mm. Okay, so this much distance can be calculated, because we know that tendons are at a distance of 50 mm from the bottom. So it will be equal to 400 minus 50 minus 156. It will equal to 194 mm. Now second moment of area, it is not very difficult. Here how we have calculated second moment of area, I will be calculated. Simply you have to calculate the moment of inertia for each areas, and if you take for A1, so it will be equal to like IA1 plus A1 D1 square, okay, plus I moment of inertia of A2 area about its centroidal axis plus A2 into D2 square. Here what is this? All this I am doing, this is based on parallel axis theorem. Okay, for each three areas I have to do this, A3 D3 square. And what is this D1 D2 D3? D1 D2 D3 is the distance between the centroid of the areas and the centroid of the complete section, or the axis along which we are calculating the moment of inertia. Okay, so this we have to do. Okay, and this is lengthy calculation here, but once we do it, the rest of the calculation becomes very easy. Now we can calculate the value of ZT. ZT will be equal to I divided by YT. YT is the distance from top, and we have calculated 156 mm, and this is the value of ZT. Similarly, ZB will be equal to I divided by YB. YB will be equal to 400. YB will be equal to 400 minus YT, and YT was equal to 156 mm. So ZB is also calculated. Now if we calculate the self weight per unit length, then it will be equal to we have taken 1 meter length. This is total area of the cross section. It is multiplied by 1 meter length into 24 kilonewton per meter cube is the density of the concrete, and this is the self weight distributed all over the length. And moment at the mid span due to this self weight, mg is 1 by 8 WL square. Okay, 1 by 8 can also be written as 0.125. okay, 0.125. so same thing is written here, 1 by 8 into W is 1.12 kilonewton per meter, L square, L is the span length and L is here 8 meter. So moment due to self weight is calculated. Now bending moment due to live load is also calculated. Everything we have calculated. Now we just have to add the stresses at the top fiber and at the bottom fiber. All right. So now there are three types of stresses. One due to the pre-stresses, okay, and one due to the self-weight stresses and other due to the live load stresses. And pre-stress is the internal stress, okay, which we have done prior to concreting, okay, whereas self-weight and live load are the external loads. So these two loads will create tension at the bottom fiber, so that's why you are seeing here minus sign, okay, whereas they will create compression at the top, so the sign should be clear. But the pre-stress will try to compress the concrete, one by the direct compression P by A, okay, and other will be due to eccentricity because there is eccentricity, E is equal to 194 mm. So due to this there will be eccentric moment, and this moment will be creating tension at the top and compression at the bottom. So the tension is negative sign at the top and positive sign at the bottom. So this is very easy to calculate. All these value P divided by A, this is given and we can calculate. It comes out to be 2.15 and it will be equal for top and bottom. Now come to the eccentric moment PE by ZT. Now here P is given 100 kilonewton, E is given 194 mm, ZT we have calculated and it comes out to be minus 4 Newton per mm square. Now ZT is not equal to ZB, so again we have to calculate in this case ZB, and PE by ZB comes out to be 6.25 at the bottom and it will be plus positive in sign compression. Now self-weight stresses will be equal to mg by zt, this we have to calculate. Similarly mq by zt, and both of them will create compression at the top. Similarly self-weight will induce a tensile stress of mg by zb at the bottom and mq by zb at the bottom due to the live loads. Okay, so if you make this table like this, then our problem is done. Now for the sign convention is given in here, plus for compression and minus for tension. All right. Now if resultant stresses can be calculated, in case A we have to consider only pre-stress plus self-weight stress. So if we do that, so if we add the first these all three values, okay, these all three values only, exclude the live load, then it is comes out to be 0, okay, at the top fiber, and at the bottom fiber if we add all these values, it will come out to be plus 5.5 Newton per mm square. Okay. Now this was for the case when we have not included the live load. Now let us try to include the live load also along with the self weight. So in that case we have to sum all these four values and it will come out to be 3.3 Newton per mm square at the top, and this will come out to be minus it will come out as plus 0.35 Newton per mm square at the bottom. Okay, so the same thing is done here and this is very easy to understand. Once we have calculated the value of I, YT and YB from the centroids of the unsymmetrical section, and then ZT and ZB and little tabular distribution like this, everything is done. Okay, so this is how pre-stress is analyzed in case of unsymmetrical section. Let us discuss one more problem here, and it is saying that a rectangular concrete beam, this is a symmetrical section, don't worry, its dimension are 250 mm wide and 600 mm deep, is pre-stressed by means of 14 mm diameter high tensile bars located 200 mm from the soffit of the beam. Let's draw the diagram here, and this is our 250 mm and this is our 600 mm, and there are some bars at a distance of 200 mm from the bottom. Okay, so don't count the number of bars. These are, I don't know how many bars are there, but the diameter of bars are 14 mm diameter. So this is a distance from the soffit given 200 mm. If the effective stress in the wires is, now this is the stress is given. This is effective stress, that means P by A is given as 700 Newton per mm square. This is the pre-stress. What is the maximum bending moment that can be applied to the section without causing tension at the soffit of the beam? Now it is being asked that what maximum bending moment can be applied on the section so that the tension without causing tension at the soffit of the beam. So generally due to external loads, tension stresses develop at the soffit of the beam. So we have to neutralize the effect of the external loads coming as tensile stresses by the means of this pre-stressing. So the total area of the cross section is A is this 250 into 600 mm square, and we can calculate the value of here it is a symmetrical section, so section modulus Z will be equal to BD square by 6, and this is also very easy to calculate. Now let us calculate the number of area of steel bars here, and I think this was not given that there are 4 bars. Okay, so it should be given here there are 4 bars of diameter 14 mm. Okay, it is given 14 mm diameter bars, so no problem, there are 4 bars. Let us draw it, 1 2 3 and 4. All right, so the total area of steel bars is given 616 mm square, and eccentricity is 100 mm. How eccentricity is calculated at 100 mm? Because the centroid of the section is at a distance of 300 mm from the bottom. So this is the distance eccentricity, and E will be equal to 600 by 2 minus 200. Is it clear? So E will come out as 100 millimeter. So eccentricity is calculated, and the total pre-stressing force P will be equal to 616. This is the area of steel bars multiplied by the pre-stress 700 Newton per mm square, and this much load pre-stressing is done here. So this is the tension being applied on the tendons, and now this pre-stressing force is compressing the concrete by magnitude P by A, and also there is generation of PE by Z. Here ZT is equal to ZB. PE by Z amount of stress is generating at the top as well as bottom fibers of the section, and at the top there is tension and at the bottom there is compression. Okay, so the total pre-stress at the soffit of the beam, because tension is generated from the external load only at the soffit. So what is the pre-stressing already done at the soffit of the beam? So it will be equal to P by A plus PE by Z, because pre-stressing cause compression in at the soffit. So this is added this P by A also comes as 2.87. This is here calculated, and P by Z is also coming as 2.87 Newton per mm square. So total pre-stress at the soffit is 5.74 Newton per mm square, and the maximum moment on the section for zero tension at the bottom face, it can be equal to M. And if we equate this, the external moment, if there is external moment M, and if we generate the tensile stresses of magnitude M by Z and equate it with 5.74 compression, so M can be calculated by multiplying this 5.74 with the Z value, and this is coming at 86.1 kilonewton meter. So this is how we can calculate the maximum moment for zero tension. One very last problem here on the pre-analysis of pre-stress concrete is that again we are taking here symmetrical section, and this is a concrete beam of section 200 mm wide and 300 by 300 mm deep, is used over an effective span length of 6 meter to support an imposed load, live load of magnitude 4 kilonewton per meter. Density of concrete is given. Okay. Now, at the center of a span, find the magnitude of concentric pre-stressing force necessary for zero fiber stress at the soffit when the beam is fully loaded. Okay. The eccentric pre-stressing force, understand the difference here. Here it is as concentric pre-stressing force and here it is as eccentric pre-stressing force, and located at a distance of 100 mm from the bottom of the beam. So this is not eccentricity. Eccentricity we have to calculate. Eccentricity will be equal to, in this case, 300 by 2 minus 100, and it will be equal to 50 mm. Okay, which would nullify the bottom fibers stresses due to loading. So ultimately, in both the questions, pre-stressing is done. First case is concentric pre-stressing, second case is eccentric pre-stressing, but the goal is that we want zero fiber stresses at the soffit due to external loadings. So let's start this, and the total area of concrete section is this 200 into 300 mm square, and this is a symmetrical section, so don't worry, ZB is equal to ZT is equal to BD square by 6, and this is also easy to calculate. Now let us calculate the यूनिफॉर्मली डिस्ट्रीब्यूटेड सेल्फ वेट लोड जी की वैल्यू. तो इसको हाउ कैन वी कैलकुलेट? 0.2 into 0.3 is the area of the cross section multiplied by 1 meter length and then by the density of concrete, and it will give you the self weight distributed throughout the length. This is 1.44 kilonewton per meter, and the bending moment at the center due to this UDL, it will be equal to 1 by 8 WL square, and W is 1.44, 1 by 8 is written here as 0.125, span length is 6 meter. So the moment at the center due to self weight is 6.48 kilonewton meter. Similarly, moment due to the live load is coming as 1 by 8, 0.125 into live load is 4 kilonewton per meter into L square, L is 6 meter. So this is also calculated. Now let us calculate the tensile stresses that is generating when the beam is fully loaded. Okay, when the beam is fully loaded, so it will be equal to mg is the external load and mq is the live load, dead load plus live load divided by z. Okay, so this much stress is being, tensile stress is being generated at the soffit. All right, so when we do this, we come to this value of tensile stresses here, 8.16 Newton per mm square. Now we want in the first case that we want zero fiber stresses at the soffit. How? By doing concentric pre-stressing force, and you must be knowing that in concentric pre-stressing force the tendons are passing through the centroids and there is no eccentricity provided to the tendons. So there will be no eccentric bending moment due to the pre-stressing. So there will be only direct compression P by A in concentric pre-stressing force. All right, because E value was equal to 0. So PE by Z will be equal to 0 in concentric pre-stressing. All right. So by this value of compression P by A, we can nullify this minus 8.16 Newton per mm square. Why I am saying this minus 8.16? That means this is the tensile stress being generated due to the external loads. All right. So how much value of P? So P can be calculated here by equating these two values. Area of the section will be multiplied with the value 8.16 and it will give you the value of this much pre-stressing force is required to make the bottom fiber zero stress. All right, so you can see there are we need to apply much more amount of pre-stressing force here in case of concentric. Let's see how much pre-stressing is required when we are providing an eccentricity. So because eccentric pre-stressing are really much more efficient. So let us see if we are going to provide eccentric pre-stressing force with an eccentricity 50 mm as we have already calculated for zero stress. So it will be equal to P by A, compression is coming due to the direct compression, plus there is also one component of compression due to the eccentricity will be coming as PE by Z. So both of these stresses will be nullifying this value of 8.16. So let's do this. P value is taken here common, and 1 by A area of the cross section into plus E by ZB. Now E is 50 mm, ZB is calculated, and once we do this, P value comes out to be 244.8 kilonewton. So you can see the magnitudes of the computed pre-stressing force clearly indicates the advantage of pre-stressing in flexural member by providing an eccentricity. And these flexural member, when subjected to transverse load, we can nullify all the tensile stresses being generated at the soffit simply by providing pre-stressing, and better if we do pre-stressing by providing an eccentricity. And of course, better than eccentric pre-stressing forces are the concordant pre-stressing forces, in which we follow a profile exactly like the bending moment diagram of the external loads, transverse loads coming on the beam. So I hope you must have learned all these three numericals in this class. So we will be discussing on the remaining approaches for the analysis of pre-stress concrete in the upcoming videos. So till that, stay tuned and stay safe. Thank you.